What do you think of when you hear about Salt Lake City? The mailman? Tidy boys who wear name tags and ride their bikes more in one day than you have in your entire life? Maybe you're poor with geography and are liable to get into an argument with someone while you defend your position that it's actually in Arizona. Who knows? I mostly think of it as the place I go when my preferred object of grandpa swooning, Paul McCartney, is on tour. However, it is a super cheap vacation destination. If you value your penny, then like smelly bodies of water, check it out. I spent a day there when I went to see Paul McCartney in concert in August. The first thing we did was speed off to the Great Salt Lake from the motel room. Yes, motel. Don't worry, there were no bed bugs, that I know of. It was a Motel 6 in Ogden. Not bad. I'd recommend it. Maybe just because of its refrigerator's awesome name. Anyway, the entrance into the Great Salt Lake State Marina is only $3 per vehicle. The entrance charge per vehicle is $10 for Antelope Island State Park. Both are good ways to enjoy some salty water. We are cheapskates and we're trying to fit all the Salt Lake stuff into one day, so we went for the cheaper option with less distractions. It's kind of cool seeing such a large body of salt water in the middle of a landlocked state. It's actually the largest saltwater lake in the Western Hemisphere, currently about 75 miles long and 35 miles wide. You can check out the lake as well as its various birds from a boat while swimming or while hiking. I'd been to Salt Lake before, but this was actually the first time I stopped at the lake. I wanted to look my best for Sir Paul later that night, so we didn't swim. We just took a look around.
There's some pretty gorgeous views here, and it smells just like the ocean without the pesky sharks.
There actually are sharks at the Bonneville Sea Base, but you won't see me getting anywhere near there. If you've recently seen Jaws and find yourself averse to salt water, you can always go hiking in the Little Cottonwood Canyon or the Big Cottonwood Canyon. They're a quick drive from town, the access is free, and they have hikes of a variety of difficulty and length. One of the easiest ones is the Secret Lake hike. The parking lot was completely full when we went, so we had to park at a nearby lot and walk down there. It wasn't too bad, just watch out for drivers who are busy drooling over a wildflower book instead of glancing at the road from time to time.
There's a ton of picturesque and amazing hiking in the area. This hike to Secret Lake is about a mile and a half round trip, and it's pretty beautiful and it's pretty easy to get up here considering what I'm wearing and the fact that I made it through with my incredibly inadequate hiking equipment.
We totally enjoyed it, and there were tons of beautiful wildflowers, of which I became a bit of a paparazzi. There were chipmunks everywhere, but they did not want their close up. And apparently there had been a moose wandering right by the path before we showed up. The moose then became as elusive as proper hiking attire is in my house. There are lots of stories of people seeing moose in the canyons, but we weren't so lucky. The only thing we discovered out there was that you should probably wear sunscreen if you're going to be out in the sun for an hour. Shocking. Here are some recommendations for hiking in the Salt Lake area from a local.
Where is your favorite place to get your moderate hiking on?
Brighton Ski Resort. There's a hike to Lake Mary, and you can keep going up to Lake Catherine, and you can go over the pass and drop into Alta if you really want to get high or get.
There are also a few outdoors parks that aren't too far away for your bored, eye-rolling teenager.
What place can you take teenagers where they won't be so bored that they're just live tweeting their boredom to their friends?
Lagoon. It's an amusement park up by Farmington. It's north of here on the way to Auburn. Probably pass it on the freeway.
Prices for a lagoon ticket vary based on age, but they're $50 or under. For the younger kids, you could also check out Kipper's Brothers Puppet Works.
What can we see in your puppet show?
Our mission is to promote literacy through storytelling and general silliness. So we have a wonderful story that was written by one of our company members. It's a spin on the princess needing to be saved by the prince. She feels like she's not truly a princess because she's never been kidnapped by a dragon, so therefore never saved by a prince. So she decides, I'm going to kidnap a dragon and then set it all up so that I will be saved by a prince and thereby become a famous princess.
For more information on shows, prices, and workshops, you can visit www.kipperpuppets.com. Anyway, after our hike, we needed some food because we'd actually been moving. When does that happen in America? We counteracted our hard hiking work by going to one of the Bruges waffles and frites locations. We inadvertently went to the one without waffle sandwiches, the downtown location. The waffle sandwiches are supposed to be pretty good, but who needs a well-rounded meal after some exercise? I had a waffle with chocolate on it for lunch. Totally healthy and good for refilling, right? It was yummy. My travel companion had the machine gun sandwich as seen on Man vs. Food. I don't like the idea of a machine gun being anywhere near my face, and it has lamb sausages in it, so I can't give you a review. He said it was good though. He could have just been starstruck by the famous sandwich. The cost ran us under $15. After getting in some lunch and maybe wanting to avoid letting my pale, sunburned skin completely burst into flame, we went to the Natural History Museum. Admission is $13 and they have loads of cool exhibits. I'm basically 4 on the inside and I miss playing with my dinosaur toys and would maybe have kids just to play with dinosaur toys again, so that means I was super impressed with the dinosaur bone exhibit. Take a look at this stuff. Are you nerdgasming yet? Anyway, they also have plenty of other things covering the history of humans in the Utah area, how the land was formed, how much of the area was covered with water when Lake Bonneville still existed, and an assortment of things regarding flora and fauna in the area. My favorite was this guy. He looks like he's all about the business. Plus, there was this exasperated dinosaur. This dinosaur that looks like a giant angry chicken, which totally didn't creep me out or anything. And this guy whose neck probably ends somewhere in Colorado. There's also a free Utah Pioneer Museum and a free family history search in Salt Lake City in case you want to see if any of your ancestors were as creepy or creepier than this giant angry chicken. Dinner was Bombay House, an Indian restaurant that is one of the most highly rated eateries in the Salt Lake area, at least as per the internet where all information is factual. I got some pretty delicious aloo gobi and naan. I have no idea what my travel buddy got because I was too busy making a food baby, but here's a picture of his meal. I quite like the aloo gobi. It wasn't the best I've ever had, but it's about $10 a plate, so it's not too pricey. Overall, the meal was closer to $40 with a 20% tip, though. Not super cheap, but it's not too expensive. I broke my usual only eat out once a day on a trip rule, but I had to find out what I could recommend. Finally, it was Paul McCartney concert time. There are all sorts of entertainment events, from the Jazz to the Bees, who are the Angels AAA affiliate, to concerts that come to town or other music events. While waiting for the show to start and taking fantastically unfantastic pictures with my phone, I lamented the fact that we couldn't see the Bees the next day. They were playing the Chihuahuas. Who doesn't want to see Bees battle Chihuahuas? That could easily be a film of the magnitude of Sharknado. Anyway, the tickets are pretty cheap for those games too. You can get to a game for less than $10, and the best seats run you closer to $30. I'm not really sure why I'm talking about a Paul McCartney concert when I'm talking about thrifty things. However, even though I don't typically splurge, if I have the chance to see the second most adorable Beatle, behind George, I am taking it. So should you. It will be bar none the best show you'll ever see, and your phone will be so excited that this is what your pictures will look like. The last time I saw him live with his senior citizen energy, in 2010, I decided I would try the whole vegetarian thing out because I wanted to be a hyper 68-year-old like him. It creeped people out a little bit. 4 years later, I am still going on the veggie diet. I want to adopt Paul as my grandpa and eat some vegan chili with him. And then find some way to ask him to sing Michelle to me without creeping him out. Again, it was awesome. Probably one of the most expensive shows you'd see in Salt Lake, but dang it, it's worth it. There were a bunch of whippersnappers on their phones when he was doing wings or solo stuff. I refer the WTF dinosaur to them. And I hope the giant ancient chicken goes and gets them. So, Salt Lake City. Cheap lake entertainment, free hiking, cheap or free museums, and some darn good eats. It's worth a stop, and not just to swoon over Paul McCartney.
There's a lot of really amazing and picturesque hiking in the area, including this 2-mile-ish round trip hike to... I gotta do it again. Why am I ruining this?
So sad.
Yeah, so very upsetting.